Record. Hello and welcome. I'm Velma, and Mickey is here with me, and we are here talking about finding pleasure in parenting. Um, Often a response I get to that is, "Really? Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure. It's possible." So I want to talk a little bit about what it is and why, and then we'll go into how we can bring more of that into our daily lives. So, first, what is pleasure in parenting? That is, for me, it's actually enjoying being a mom, being a parent, and also enjoying being a woman, like being able to embrace and live both of those roles. And what is pleasure? Pleasure is enjoyment. Pleasure is also like very focused on the physical experience. So what feels good in our bodies um, is really important. So those two things go together. Um, so why? Why pleasure in parenting? Well, why parenting? Parenting. So our kids learn how to parent from how they're parented. We learned how to parent from how we were parented. Our kids learn how to live from how we live. We learned how to live from how our parents and our families lived. And I know that I'm living really differently than my parents, and I worked really hard to do that. And I know that I want my kid to live a happy life, to feel empowered, to have choices. Um, and for him to have those things, I need to model that. I need to live that for myself. So that has been my primary motivation for how I want to be in the world since he was itty bitty. And along the way, I've like realized and learned that mothers are powerhouses. Mothers change the world, but they can't change the world if they're tired and exhausted and overwhelmed and frustrated and sad and angry and resentful. They can't do really a whole lot of anything besides like trudging along if they're stuck in that. And we get stuck in that because we're told to do too much. We're told to do everything. And we're told that it's not okay for us to slow down, to rest, to find the things that we enjoy for ourselves, that everything gets to be for our families. So, pleasure, finding our pleasure for ourselves, finding ways we can be happy is rebellion. It is rebellion against this culture in our world that wants to keep us small, that wants that doesn't value life maybe as much as we do. So when we are in our pleasure, when we become in our power and we can affect positive change out there and make things better for ourselves, for our kids, and that ripples out and affects so many people. So that's my activist roots showing, and I'm proud of that. So that's why pleasure and parenting. Um, so, oh, now what? That didn't take me very long. I'm very proud of that. um, there are so many different ways that we can bring pleasure into our experience. And I'm going to start with one that can be a little bit edgy, and that is bragging. We, I'm going to invite us, dare you, challenge you to brag. And for me, what that means is openly celebrating how amazing you are. And beyond that, how amazing your kids are. And that is edgy because our culture teaches us to bond over complaining, to bond over the hard stuff. And the challenge is that when what we focus on grows, and we don't want to grow more of that. If we want pleasure in our lives, if we want joy and happiness in our lives, we need to go, oh, hey, there's a thing here that's really good. And I'm going to look at that and I'm going to share that and I'm going to let myself be celebrated. So a brag can be something really tiny or it can be something really huge. It doesn't have to be like all grandiose. It can be like, damn, I made breakfast this morning and I ate it. Because that, for many years, was a brag for me. Another brag for me for many years was I went for a walk. And another brag for me for many years was I got my kid to school without, yelling too much. So brags can be like the little bits that like might seem little or might look little to somebody else, but like we know how much it takes a mother to like do something and with all that we have. So like a brag can be really tiny or a brag can be really beautiful and brilliant. So um I'm going to brag and Mickey's going to brag and then we're going to shut off the recording or pause the recording and then we'll like do some brags. Um so I have an amazing brag. So I'm inviting everybody to brag on themselves as a mother and to brag on their child. So that's the challenge in this particular group. And my brag is from this weekend. This weekend, I was a wreck. I was a complete swampy, crying mess. I had like 4 ruptury, swampy, cryy things in like half a day. And so like I went to my bed, which is a brag on me for going to bed and like letting myself rest and like just like be with my feelings instead of shoveling through. And like that is a brag. And another brag is that earlier in the day before that, I had said I would really love to clean up the porch. And so instead of cleaning up the porch, I like something happened and I was upset and I went downstairs and I allowed myself to be upset. And my family, my partner and my kid cleaned my porch for me. So like I am bragging on them for like doing something that I wanted that like I didn't ask them to. They just did it because I wanted it. And it's so nice. But here's the really the bestest brag ever. I'm so proud of my kid. So I was downstairs in my bedroom and he came downstairs and I called to him and I said, "Hello, Oliver." And he called back to me. He's like, "How are you, Mom?" And I'm like, "I'm crying." And he's like, so he came to my room and he's like, "Would you like a hug?" And he's 14. And he came up and he gave me the sweetest little hug and little snuggle. And like it really made a huge difference. So like I brag that I have raised a kid who knows that you don't have to fix shit. And that sometimes all you need is a hug. You don't need words. And I brag that he did that and he came to me. So that's my brag. And when people brag, um we get to upright them, we get to celebrate them, and the simplest way we do that is by saying, "Well bragged." So somebody gets to say, "Well bragged" to me.
Well bragged.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Velma. I'll go next. Man, you got me crying already. Yeah, like hearing about your boy and, I met Ollie when he was like 3 or 4 or something. So, seeing him grow over the years, it's been incredible. Yeah, let's see. I brag that I have done such a good job at helping my kid understand his emotions and talk about them that he now I have watched him basically like reparent my mom. And like tell her what is like working for him and not working about their dynamic and like how she's approaching things. And it is like mind blowing and incredible. So yeah, I brag on myself about that, and I brag on my kids about like together, just like what good brothers they are. They're so like, especially Kai, the older one, is such a good like mini parent to his younger brother, and is really sometimes he will tell us, he'll be like, "Mom, you should just let me. I'll just go like distract him. He's really kind of tired and upset right now." Oh, like whatever. And of course, Lee just like adores his older brother and thinks like he's the sun and the moon and everything. So yeah, I'm so proud of them for that. And like I had a lot to do with that too, because that was a goal that we had. So like double brag on me.
Absolutely. Hell yes, Mickey. Your boys are so amazing and precious, and I love, love hearing all the stories about them. So thank you. Well bragged. Okay, so we're going to pause the recording.
Actually, Sheila said she was okay if we wanted to go to Sheila next. Is
You
that
know,
still cool with
okay.
you? Yeah?
Awesome. Cool
Awesome.
with me. Go,
Let's do
Sheila.
that. Thank you. You're still muted.
That would help. Are we bragging on the kids or on us as parents or both?
Both.
Both. Okay. Okay. I brag, my daughter is 12, and I brag that she went to an overnight camp this year, and she's just been like doing a lot of stuff out in the community. She's been volunteering, and I just brag how fucking proud I am of her in the way that she's showing up as a leader and as a caregiver for the little ones that she's looking after. I brag that my younger daughter Lily is, I have like mixed feelings about this word, but she's bossy as fuck. Like this kid is a leader, and she has no qualms about showing her leadership. And I just brag that she is who she is, and she's ready to just like step in and figure things out at all times. I brag that I'm raising women that are able to speak up and talk about what they want and able to talk back to me. And my husband, even though he doesn't like it, I brag that they are women that like feel that that is their right to speak out.
Amazing. So well bragged. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sheila. Really appreciate that. Okay. Okay, and now I am gonna
Okay. Thank you. So we just did our bragging, and then we did some digesting, and then we did some dancing, and then we did some spring cleaning, and then we did some more digesting and some more dancing. And we didn't record any of that because we needed our own container. And that was what we just did, was a small taste of the kind of work that we'll be doing, the kind of practices that we'll be using in our Marta Free Mothering, which is our course coming up in 3 weeks. So now I'm going to let Mickey talk because I talked a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Velma. Yeah, well, let's see. So, like, I think the most basic thing to say about it is that, like, we're gonna be meeting for an hour and a half on Tuesdays every other week for 9 weeks. And it's gonna be, you'll notice this was an hour call, but the video is like 15 minutes. That's because we intend to never talk more than 10 or 15 minutes in these calls, right? Like, the really juicy part is to create space and use these amazing, powerful tools that we've been gifted by like numerous amazing teachers and, pathways that we've learned to, yeah, like really actually embody the reality of being mothers, right? And every single facet that that includes, and every bit of experience from every right woman that is on the call, and never making any part of it wrong or bad, and as we have seen with some of those tools, like just making space for stuff to come out that we didn't even realize was like on our hearts and minds and maybe holding us back or maybe making us feel a certain way. And then also this thing we keep talking about of sistering, right? Of like, um, long ago in our memory, we know what it's like to be mothers in real community, right? Where we got to like learn from each other and hold each other up and support each other and love each other through the crazy hard shit. I think a lot of us feel so separated, right? And so like lost and lonely. And so like we have to kind of relearn how to be sisters to each other, because we've learned a lot of bad habits, right, from our culture. And so how do we like say we're awesome and then say like you are awesome? Like yes, right? Like keep going. So there's lots of details in there, but like I'm gonna leave it there because I want a couple of minutes to answer questions. But like please reach out to us and ask your own questions if you're at all interested.